I erred in not fomenting Mike Schur's recent hate of the Miami Heat that has many of you in our audience who are Heat fans agitated, and many of you in our audience siding with Mike Schur and Jessica on getting annoyed with all of the Miami talk that's around here. That game last night, if you're someone who cares about the aesthetics of basketball, if you care not about winning at all costs, but watching OKC in the open court, OKC fouls an awful lot. That game last night, the Heat can't shoot, but they make all 40 of their free throws, is an abomination to anybody who wants to watch a game going and flowing up and down the court. So we will get to that with Mike Schur tomorrow. That's my mistake not bringing it up today because he was offended by that game last night with the Miami Heat. But the thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, because of Jessica coming after the Miami obsession on this show amongst us celebrating the Miami teams, the other day, and I want to ask Andrew about this because I don't know what his opinion is on Tua, but I said he shouldn't play anymore this season. Just let him rest his head for 9 months. And I'm getting hit by Miami fans with a lot of clown face emojis and clickbait. That's all this is. And LeBatard was entertaining many years ago. Now he's too woke for me. This is just one of the issues that I have with him. This is something, too woke is what you get for pleading for humanity or decency for a human being. And I'm curious because you come from the gladiator world that can't consider consequences, that has to keep playing through everything, even though everyone's bigger than you, and you decide to charge at James Harrison because you're a fool, a delusional fool. What is the Dolphins' responsibility to a quarterback who has been concussion prone, has had some brain scrambling, and there have been here too many concussions? Kenny Pickett has had a couple as well. Many of you are saying, well, what about him?
I actually was the one who brought that up in the middle of the season for all the people in my mentions. We're like, what about Kenny Pickett? I said he's had 2 concussions and he's played through them, and
when your
hasn't played through them. But.
When your argument starts with "what about or you've lost,"
yeah, I know. I was just.
It's just like it's so lame.
What about
like we can have a conversation about Tua, the one that Chris Cody I thought brought up well, which is, well, if he's medically cleared, then what do you do? Because you're playing a playoff game on Sunday. Like it matters a lot.
It doesn't even have to be a playoff game. If a player is medically cleared by a training staff, you entrust to make these decisions. What do you do? I think when you apply playoff game to it, you're like, well, under a normal circumstance, I'd care for the player, but because it's a playoffs, I can't care for him.
Well, I mean, there's so many factors at play here, and I'm thinking specifically of just Tua Tagovailoa situation, right? Like a playoff win for him is huge. I mean, for his career and everything we talked about as players that you put into this and what you ultimately want to get out of it. It's the same reason why he came back probably as fast as he did the first time, because he wants to be out there. He wants to be making those plays, those throws, proving people wrong, showing people that he is a QB1 in this league and he can take the Dolphins to the promised land and deliver on the expectation of when he was drafted. I would say with the 2 concussions that we've seen from him, right, 2+, depending on how you look at it. Kenny Pickett has 2 concussions, yes. We watched Tua get hurt the way that we did, right? And one of them was not considered a concussion, which, again, we've seen a lot of things. We've seen enough of these. We're not doctors. I've had concussions. We've seen a lot of these to know that there was something wrong. And the NFLPA and everyone has come out and said that that was not handled the right way. That being said, for Tua's own, it becomes a conversation of, is the upside worth the downside? If you come into this game and you get another concussion, like, the conversation won't be, did he come back too fast? It's you should never play football again. That's not worth it. If your goal is to continue on with your career, and there's already been discussions about that, right? Should he continue on, which is natural in these situations? I don't think there's enough upside for whatever could happen in the playoff game to make it worth you coming back. And I know that's going to suck. It's going to suck for Dolphins fans. It's going to suck for some of the players in the locker room who want their quarterback there. It's going to suck for the coach. It's going to suck for Tua, because he's helped put this team in a situation and he's earned his right to be here. But in my opinion, as someone who's gone through multiple concussions in a season and had to go on IR for concussions, it was the same hard conversation that I had to have with myself, and ultimately that's where it landed.
Selfishly for Tua, if you're staring down the barrel of potentially making $100 million with somebody, whether the Dolphins or somebody else, selfishly, if it was me, and I know I've had maybe possibly 3 concussions, at least 2 documented ones, selfishly, I sit down and be like, you know what? I'm not playing to facilitate a contract that can give me that generational wealth down the line.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think you got that dog in you.
Bobby, when you're looking at $100 million or not,
No dog.
English Sitter Spaniel.
No dog.
Basset
You're a
hound.
little putty tat. It's what you are.
a little putty tag.
Mike played JV football and quit.
I mean, it definitely puts that in.
Oh, goddamn. Oh, wow.
I didn't play much.
It doesn't. That is definitely considered. I mean, I'm not even talking about from the business angle, right? Because that is the worst thing that could possibly happen for your next contract. Is now you have that. People are already looking at you that way. The best thing you could do is let yourself heal, and that's just, again, I'm going to get killed the same way for saying it. But as a player, for what he's gone through this season, I can't imagine a situation where it's worth it for anybody. Like, I don't think there's a.
It was varsity, asshole.
Take us through, though, what it is that you suffered and IR, and explain it to people, because they're awfully flippant with his brain and in dismissing me, because I do want to explore this. I'm rarely looking for clickbait, although if I were doing it, it would be dressed as someone from Dodgeball talking about Tua. So I certainly understand the accusation, because
You have done that before.
I have done that before, but I wasn't doing it here. I just think that you're talking about a danger and a liability that isn't worth the risk, that 9 months of rest is better than a couple of weeks of rest, given what it is that he has suffered.
If I may, as I experience it, I was like, oh, Dan's got a heat check right now. And you know why? Because I was scared to even weigh in on that. Because you were so right before that Cincinnati Bengals Thursday night game. Because you were kind of saying, I don't think he should be out there, even though it was reported that he didn't suffer concussion before that. And I was like, well, if the doctors clear him, that's football, baby. And then Thursday night happens and his fingers are stuck there. I'm like, oh, I sounded like an asshole. Dan sounded really right and super compassionate. And then I saw you going even stronger on it. Keep in mind, he suffered yet another concussion, and there's more. The variables have changed some, but I'm like, well, shit, he can be more right.
Mike, he threw 3 interceptions perfectly tossed to linebackers and defensive backs because he didn't know where he was.
That's the thing that's so stark about this.
And then
is that-
didn't remember them.
Right.
But he also didn't play well when he wasn't concussed. He had a bad stretch.
And he had a very good first half in that Green Bay game.
Yeah, but he had
their offense was working.
talking
in that
about
game.
the losing streak.
Correct. But if we're saying, like, the stark contrast in good Tua versus bad Tua is so obvious and so dictated by his brain that's really the reason why there is such concern for him, is because you watch him in that Green Bay game, that offense was flowing. It was a great game to watch in the first half. And the second half, you're like, what the hell happened? And the fact that there is such an obvious explanation, which is his brain was not working. And we've seen, that's like the second time this season that we've seen such stark, obvious evidence for this player being harmed by brain injury. Like that really is the reason why. Kenny Pickett, like, we don't have the example of, well, this is what happened before, or this is what happened after, or this is how it affected his performance. We know with Tua how it affected his performance and how it affected him as a human being with the multiple times he suffered concussions.
Let's go to an expert here, though, who can tell us what it is all of that feels like to endure and what the risk is and what your family says to you. Yeah. And when you're saying upside versus downside, I don't know how far I have to push that. If I made the Dolphins a 1 seed with all home games and a bye, is then the risk somehow worth whatever the risk is?
I think every situation and every concussion is completely different. That's what people, number one, need to understand. There is no 2 things that are the same, right? That happens every time. And the other part is like any injury, the more time you give something to heal, the better it is. I actually had to go to rehab for when I had my second concussion. I think it was the season of 2015. I got my first one versus the Rams. I think Johnny or is it Johnny that threw the interception? Somebody threw the interception. I'm going to make a tackle. The D lineman just says, I'm not trying to score. I'm just going to run you over. Lowers his head, helmet to helmet, boom, I get a concussion, right? So I'm like a little dazed. I'm on the sideline. I'm like, somebody notices. I go back. I take the test. I'm cognizant, but it's like, I was a little wobbly. So they put me down for concussion. I'm like, damn it, right? So I think I missed that following game. I don't think I missed the second game. I can't quite remember right now. But then when I came back versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I was rushing to get back. I'm like, I want to play. Like, I'm fine. And in that game, Johnny throws a pick. I know for sure this was Johnny. Johnny threw an interception. I go to, kind of turn. And as I turn, the D lineman just launches somebody blocking, just helmet to helmet, just takes me out. And from what I remember from that game, I was talking a lot of shit, right? Like we talked about what I did. And there's like video afterwards, they put like a little montage of me talking crap to all the D linemen on this Pittsburgh Steelers, because that's how I play. I didn't care. So anyway, someone wanted to get some, retribution from all the crap I was talking. So I get the concussion, and I can't remember exactly how like they noticed, but I don't remember anything from basically maybe a little bit before that on. And the process after that was like a lot harder, because now I had 2 concussions probably within a 3-week span, and it was like the light bothered me. I was getting migraines, and it was like, you're continuing to take the test and trying to get back, but also you're still having the symptoms. And
are you trying to fake your way through the test? Are you trying to lie and fake your way through the test?
No, I wasn't trying to fake. I was being straight up at that point. I mean, I like at that point in my career, there was no.
You were scared at that point?
I wasn't scared. There was just no benefit to lying, right? There was no benefit of faking it to try to get back, because I wanted to make sure I was okay. But B, it was like, yo, my head hurts. Like, I have migraine. I'm sitting in the dark watching Golden Girls the majority of the day because I don't want to sit in the light, right? Like,
are you a Dorothy or a Blanche?
I
Sophia?
just saw her mouth. I love Golden Girls.
Rose.
Yeah, I'm definitely
Rose.
a Dorothy.
Thank you
Dorothy
for being
Sophia.
a friend.
Yeah, that's.
Travel down the road and back again.
Hawk, do you believe?
It's true.
Do you believe like that you're the only one that knows if like? Do you believe in the testing? I guess is my question. Like, do you think that the testing is good enough to actually identify? Like, where do they get that stuff wrong? The identification of concussions.
I don't know where they get it wrong. I think it's as best as it possibly can be, because there's literally no way else to figure it out. Like,
do you know? Like, do you know immediately
No.
when it happens?
Nope, you don't. I mean, when you have a concussion,
Yeah.
no. Sometimes you do. Other times, like what happens is you have a concussion, and the thing you have to realize about players is, in some scenarios, like I said, I continued to play for a little bit, but you are completely on instinct. It's no longer like you're not making cognizant decisions. I remember one concussion I had in this Canadian Football League. I'm like, yo, I can't remember the plays. Like, so I was cognizant, but they would say the plays, and I'm like, I have no idea where I'm supposed to line up. And they say, hey, go over here. And I played the rest of the game, but I had to tell them, like, yo, I cannot remember. And I'm a playbook guy. Like, I know every play. I can go to any position. If they said, Hawk, you got to play tight end today, I could play tight end and know exactly what to do. And then, in that scenario, I don't remember a single thing. And so depending on what Tua has gone through, like, you just react at that point, right? Or you watch after like a UFC fight where they, brush the mic in your face after you get knocked out. That's a concussion. And the person's just saying words. A lot of times they might not even remember doing that interview. So you're not in a state to make any of those decisions or what have you.
But what happened with you? So you get a couple in 3 weeks and they put you on IR?
Well, I continue to try to come back, and then at some point, like through the next couple of weeks, it's like, hey, this isn't progressing. Like, we should put you on IR, and that's when they put me on IR. And I agree, because I'm like, what I don't want is to go back out there and get a third one, right? And I did contemplate retiring, but I didn't want to end my career like that, so I ended up coming back the next year, and like ending on a high note in the 115 season. But I ended with injury, so that was an important thing for me. And I came back and played all 16 games.
I just don't know what the dangers are. I just wouldn't risk them.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I don't think Tua's going to play, and this is not me convincing or trying to lobby. I just don't think he's going to play.
I got into an argument with my wife the other day. You just sang Golden Girls, and we were talking about greatest theme songs from television of all time. I think Billy out of nowhere started doing some Sanford and Son the other day. Is Golden Girls top 10 television theme songs of all time?
Such a tough call. I don't know if it's top 10.
What?
There's so many good ones.
It's at worst top 3.
No.
Wow.
No,
Okay.
that's too high.
Andy, give us your top 5. We'll get around to it. Start making the
I
list
don't know
now,
how I feel
and we'll
about
do
you
it by
calling
the
me
end of
Andy
the
Snuddy
episode.
on the airwaves.
You said hometown people
I
only.
did give you the. I
She's
did
Rust
give you the-
Belt.
Okay.
She's Rust Belt.
She is.
I know all about the flood.
She knows all about the J-Town flood. I don't know what my top 3 are, but honestly, I nothing jumps out that is better than "Thank You for Being a Friend."
Travel down the road and back again.
I mean, what's better than that? Like,
Well, I'm going to go old school with mine. Sanford and Son by Quincy Jones, The Jeffersons. I'd go Hawaii 5-0. A lot of people aren't even going to understand what I'm talking about there because it's so old. I have a list. Golden Girls did not crack my list. It would not have been top 3 for me. Put it on the poll, please, Whittingham. Top 3. Is Golden Girls a top 3? Look, that's no insult. You took Dak Prescott and said he bumped his head into the top 5 every once in a while, but then he throws a bunch of interceptions and he's a bottom 15 quarterback. I'm not insulting or disparaging Golden Girls by saying it's not top 3.
I'm not saying that. I was just surprised when you were like, "Is it?" and you were like slow playing it. I thought you were going to say, "Is it the best theme song of all time?" And you went with top 10, and then everybody was like, "Hey, I don't know." It just threw me off.
You threw me off entirely.
We're in Miami.
You threw me off entirely by just sitting around and watching Golden Girls all the time in your late 20s.
Show.
It's
Excellent
my favorite
show.
show of all time.
Is it?
I'm not gonna lie, it's my number one show.
Well, that's why. Like, people will think that the number one theme song is on the basis of which show I liked the most.
No,
That's not
it's
true.
It spans across so like the pure reach of the theme song. Like I'm not the Golden Girls era. I'm
You are in no way.
You know?
You do not fit the stereotype of whatever the Golden Girls viewer is. I don't think.
There is not a single episode I have not seen.
I don't think there are any Golden Girls fans who have talked shit to James Harrison.
By the
Now
way,
you've
Golden.
met two.
I pulled up a list of Rolling Stone's top 100 television theme songs of all time. Golden Girls comes in at 38.
What?
Oh my gosh, that's disrespect.
All right, well, now you got to give us 1
Now
through 37.
we're gonna do the whole thing
And
here.
we'll do up or down.
Give me the fanfare, and we will argue about all of these. But all of these theme songs are said to be, according to Rolling Stone, which does these lists very poorly. But everyone loves a list, even if it's poorly done.
They do it as assholes on purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
And
yes.
that is the way to do the list. But 37, this is said to be better than Golden Girls. What is it, Whittingham?
Dragnet.
We're going to go old school.
NBC show from the 50s.
Oh, Roy would know Dragnet.
It's pretty good,
Damn right.
though. 36.
Doesn't know his own anniversary, but he knows the effing Dragnet theme song.
36.
Laverne and Shirley.
Mean.
Yeah, that's also good. The older, so we're going to lose a generation of people here.
You've lost me completely.
Multiple generations, but those are good. Those are good selections. Number 35,
Twin Peaks.
34,
Dukes of Hazzard.
also good. 33,
The Addams Family.
also
All
good.
right, that's
All
memorable.
old. 32,
Miami Vice.
31,
The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
also good. Very old. 30,
One Day at a Time.
also old. 29, good.
The Greatest American Hero.
Also good.
I've never even heard of this show.
28,
Good Times.
Is there
excellent.
anything from the 21st century?
Too low. They're coming. 27,
Hill Street Blues.
26,
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
what?
Succession.
25, 20,
Star Trek.
24, 23.
The Gary Shandling Show. Oh, it's Gary Shandling Show? I
20
didn't realize there was a difference.
22.
Peter Gunn.
I don't know what that
Who's
is.
he?
It's a late 50s NBC show. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I thought he did Uptown with Lord Tariq.
All in the Family.
Wow, that's low. 20 is all in the.
The Sopranos.
That's only 20?
That was 19 for The
18.
Sopranos.
Mamma
The Simpsons.
Mia.
17.
The Muppet Show.
That's a good one.
Banger.
The Rockford Files.
Oh, that's a good one too.
That is old. 15.
Mission Impossible.
14. Very
When
old.
you're disavowed by the government. The Wire.
13.
Cheers.
Cheers is
12.
Hawaii Five-0.
Too low. 11.
Game of Thrones.
10.
Too Many Cooks.
Seriously?
Love that track. You're not familiar with that? It was an Adult Swim thing where they would just repeat. The whole gag was too many cooks, and it would be a different title sequence every time. It was a great show.
As far as I'm concerned, Golden Girls should be above
All
all
of
of
these.
these,
I agree.
except
Hawaii
The
Five-0.
Sopranos.
Hawaii Five-0. I mean, come on.
Don't
Hawaii
sleep on
Five-O
Too Many
is
Cooks.
Excellent. So good. Number 9.
The OC.
8.
Friends.
Okay, wait. We're putting songs that were songs before, because the OC,
Yeah,
that was
that's
a
unfair.
great track by
and
Phantom
movies. I didn't know we were
That's
counting movies.
not.
but go
That's
ahead.
cheating.
You know, it's
That's
a drummer,
cheating.
Jason Schwartzman.
Sanford and Son is going to sneak in here. Number 7.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
That's a good one.
6.
The Twilight Zone. That's a good one.
5.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Oh.
Come on.
4.
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
What?
What is that?
Sounds sexist.
It's a
I
CW
reject
show
it.
from
Even the
2015.
computer was a little confused.
3.
Sanford and Son.
There are 2 better than Sanford and Son? No, they're not. No, they're not.
There's a
reject this
two-way
list.
tie at number 2. The Brady Bunch and Gilligan's Island.
I mean, I'll give him Gilligan's Island.
And the number 1 television theme song, according to Rolling Stone, The Jeffersons.
Terrible list. Awful list. I have a top 5. I
Fuck
have a top
Rolling
5.
Stone.
I have a top 5. This is definitive. Number 5, Round Ball Rock.
Great shout. Great shout.
Number 4, Sunday Night Football.
The asterisk.
The original
Stugotz's
version,
list. Number 3.
Number 3, the Champions League anthem.
It'll be Monday Night Football. Number 2.
Number 2, X-Men the animated series.
Oh, no.
That was a good one. That got me. I'm not gonna lie. Just turned 9 again.
Yeah. And number 1, Fox NFL. I'm sorry, Monday Night Football.
No,
Wow.
That's a terrible list. I don't think any of those are better than the Golden. I don't think any of those stand the test of time the way the Golden Girls theme song does.
I agree with you. A lot of them I can't even think of off the top of my head. If you need someone to jog your memory of how it sounds, it should not be above Golden Girls on that list.
But more than 50% of what we just read are shows
Ancient.
you're not familiar with even, right? They're not songs, but you are familiar with the Jeffersons theme song, correct? Or not?
If you sang it to me, I'd know it.
Moving on up
Okay,
to
yeah,
a
that's it.
deluxe apartment.
In the sky.
Cheers is good. Cheers is a good one. That's one that sticks.
What about my other double G's? My Gilmore Girls.
What?
Where you lead, I will follow.
No.
You want to come up
Nah.
with your own list of top
Well,
5?
I will. I'll make
If
a
the OC
relevant
is
list.
eligible, then Dawson's Creek is eligible.
Also in the top 50 of this list were Sesame Street, which I feel like should be higher.
Yes.
The Love Boat, Bonanza, of course. Gilmore Girls, number 45, by the way. There you go.
They're on the poll. Bonanza, of course.
Honestly, for
It's
me,
really
Did
good.
my
Bonanza,
Grammy just come on the
it's
mic?
so good. It's just, Roy, the thing is, you know
Where's
all of
Gunsmoke?
these old school ones. You threw Dragnet out there when that Dragnet is 60s.
Nick at Night.
I mean, it's pretty famous. I mean, if you watch hockey, when the penalties are called, some arenas actually play the theme song.
I'm surprised that
Where's Green Acres?
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is the life for
We've
me.
done that show.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Law and Order, number 43. That's really surprising to me. Law and Order from his
I
top
think
5.
we're convoluting like just good shows and
No,
because
but that
they're
no, but
good
that
shows
music
and
in
Order is
particular.
iconic.
These,
Just the
these,
gavel.
The
these are
Golden
these are
Girls
their
theme
stories.
song is good music.
Dun, 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 dun.
Even for people that aren't like from that era, they hear it and they're like, "Yo, that is a great. Thank you for being a friend." Like it was a viral moment a couple years ago.
Sopranos. True Detective Season 2. File.
Andrew, I'm sorry that we've upset you.
I didn't expect to be upset this way.
We have blasphemed.
Today.
We have blasphemed against. You've seen every single episode
Every
of Golden
episode.
Girls.
They live so close to here. I don't get how you guys aren't.
I can like Golden Girls. Again, I don't understand your inability to accept nuance from me. I cannot. I can say that a song is good. I can say that a show is good without making it top 3 and insulting you personally as if I've done something morally reprehensible to you.
I just don't understand it. I don't get this place now. I thought I had a good handle on it.
Every time I mention True Detective Season 2, a huge fight breaks up. If Season 2 was Season 1, its legacy would be preserved as a great American TV show.
But that happens.
Stop
That happens with a lot of sequels, though. Like if The Hangover 2 were The Hangover 1,
Yeah, but it was the
people
same-
would think it was funny.
Yeah, but it's
No,
different
no,
though.
it's
Same
different.
characters in
Totally
The
different.
Hangover.
It was a high bar,
Exactly.
man.
Totally
High
different
bar.
Knock
thing.
that shit out the park.
It was
I'll
a little
give
too
you Vince
convoluted,
Vaughn
Mike.
was a
Come
miscast.
on.
I'll give you Vince Vaughn was
Thank
a
you.
miscast.
Thank you.
I'll give you that.
Yeah,
but it was
yeah,
a great
yes.
show.
Right. You're
Great
correct.
show.
I don't know about great. It was okay.
Great show.
It was okay.
Watch it back.
No.
The biggest problem everybody had with True Detective Season 2 was that it wasn't Season 1.
Mike, how about this? I've rewatched Season 1. I will never rewatch Season 2.
Rewatch Season 2.
No,
I'm telling
you
you
can't
right
make
now,
me.
way better than you.
You literally
remember.
can't make
It
me.
was good.
You can't make me.
Oh man, that sounded like that hurt.
Did Mike just throw Tony's entire face into a microphone? Is that what I just heard? This needs to settle down. Everyone needs to calm down. I did not think that this would be something that would enrage all of you. If I had a Miami bias, it would be for Miami Vice's theme song.
You just deranged Deb in that
That's
microphone.
second best theme song in Miami history.
I have a top 4 theme song.
well, what's
Can you
number
feel the
1?
heat on UPN when the mic can you feel the heat down
in
Clap
your
your hands,
soul.
He down in my
soul.
When you feel it.
Seriously, what is number 1, Hawk?
Number 1,
What's the number 1 Miami theme song?
Golden Girls.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you
that's
for
right.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say Peppas.
There wasn't nearly enough black shows on that Rolling Stone list either.
Oh, you noticed that?
I'm
did you?
gonna do a Stugotz top 5. It's gonna be
Let's-
Family Matters.
Hold on a second. This is Andrew Hawkins'
Oh, TGIF.
segregated list of black television shows that was excluded because Rolling Stone had a white panel doing this
Yes.
and didn't have enough diversity in its choices. Number 5, according to Andrew Hawkins.
Family Matters.
Number 4.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
It was on the.
That's okay. It's still
on
not
my
diverse enough. Number 3.
Martin.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. I mean,
First season though. First season.
I mean, we all know the lyrics to the Martin theme song, but it can't just be
Of
Martin
course
over
we
and
all
over
do.
again.
Oh
Yes, we all know that.
Number 2.
Power.
Recent. I like Power. It's
It
a
said
guilty.
It's a big
It's
rich town.
That is not better than In Living Color. It's not
Wait a
better than In
second.
Living Color.
Wait a second. Power is incredible.
It's not better than In Living Color.
It's
That's
a
true.
totally
As a
different
theme
show.
He's right.
Come
He
from
is,
the
Mike's right.
poorest part.
Thank you.
Someone had to mention In Living Color.
Yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's
But it's a
that's
completely
fine.
different show than Power. It
Honorable
has
mention.
nothing to do with Power.
I would like for you guys to stop interrupting like you do Shannon Sharp, the black man, as he's trying to make his
Thank you.
list of black
But I'm a black man.
theme songs.
Say black one more
Okay,
time.
Roy,
Dan.
I'll allow it.
Number 1.
Golden Girls.
That's not a black TV show.
It was in
The
black
hell it's not.
households, though. I'll tell you that.
College Game Day.
Also, Carlos Correa, huh? The Twins are just like, yeah, you're fine.
Third time's a charm.
What is that? What's happened with Carlos Correa? How is it that he fails the Giants test at 300 and whatever million? Then the Mets sign him for 300 more million, and he failed that test too.
Yep.
And now
Yeah.
the Twins are like, we'll take you even if you're broken. We are a place where discarded and broken discount toys exist.
So you get it. You understand.
Yeah, but he passed the physical. I mean, that's the big.
Well, I mean,
Well, he did. He passed the physical.
we
I
were
mean,
saying the physical back there was like the meme of like that security guard that's just like, yeah, you're good. Keep it moving. Don't worry about it.
We were talking about earlier this week about doctors and how much you trust doctors. And we were talking earlier in this show about the fact that Tua wasn't mentally himself. And the doctors who were there did not know it because he threw 3 interceptions that he doesn't remember to a whole bunch of people who weren't Miami Dolphins. You're telling me that the Twins have a different medical standard for physicals than the San Francisco Giants and the New York Mets?
I mean, it seems like okay. So first deal I think was like 13 for 350 or 360.
He lost $150 million in these physicals.
$150 million in physicals, and his contract went from like 13 to 12 to 6. So I'm guessing that the Twins just thought whatever it is that the other ones are finding, we're good with for 6. And then hopefully you make it to 6 and then, okay, whatever. Or the Twins are thinking, how else are we going to get a player here? We'll look the other way. You're good. Come play for us. We're the Twins.
Doesn't everyone have a different standard for physicals? Some people go to the doctor and they find out they have high blood pressure and they're like, meh, okay, all good. And then some people go and find out they have high blood pressure and they're like, oh my God, I need to change my lifestyle. We all just are okay with certain amount of dings and nicks.
But wouldn't like the amount of money that you're theoretically insuring matter in that equation?
Yeah,
like if
I
you're doing a physical for
does.
someone who you're about to pay $350 million, wouldn't the standard be different than someone you're about to pay $200 million?
The length of time of the contract also matters, right?
That matters a lot.
He also opted out of being on the Twins to be a free agent. So I'm sure that whatever it is that the other teams are finding, they're aware of. And they've just decided we can make this work.
You think their doctor was like, I looked and I couldn't find it. I don't know what those Mets doctors found. I don't see anything.
Yeah. When I was coming from Canada, I broke my leg in Canada to come to the NFL, right? And it was my first year in Canada. I played there 2 seasons. After the first year, I broke my leg. And I had a surgery done by the team doctor of the Cincinnati Bengals. And so after the second year in Canada, I was going on visits to NFL teams, and I was very nervous because my ankle wasn't completely right yet. And some people were like, I don't know about the surgery and then this and this. The one place I was confident wouldn't fail me in the physical was the Bengals because their team doctor was my surgeon. So he couldn't say that their ankle isn't right because you're the one who did the damn surgery.
He did a bad job.
It's like, which asshole did this? Oh, I mean, it looks great. Your recovery looks amazing. We're so happy with your progress.
You went to the Stugotz of doctors. Billy has been lamenting for a while in the ways that people get injured, that there's an unreasonable panic around when Jessica made me think of this when she was talking about high blood pressure and how it is that different people react differently to things. What is it that you would say to the audience, Billy, is something that there's an unreasonable amount of fear about?
Shoelaces. Do you guys have people like stop you and say, hey, your shoelaces are untied? Like panic, like, hey, tie your shoelaces are untied. It happens all the time.
So annoying.
Has anyone ever had like a catastrophic shoelace incident that these people are aware of? Because I don't. Like, I haven't.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Of course, Tony has.
Oh,
right?
I know.
Tony Topper.
Poor guy.
Tony Topper's asking a question, Jess.
wow.
How is it Tony Topper if he's asking a question? That's crazy.
okay.
Anyways, the more important part is one time in a department store.
Go on. Which department store?
Just making sure you're done.
Nordstrom?
I don't know.
Neiman Marcus.
I don't know.
You're a fancy boy.
Macy's.
Ooh.
One time at a Macy's, somebody had their shoe untied. Going down the escalator.
Escalator.
Oh,
Escalator.
here we go.
Very dangerous.
I
Here we
didn't
go.
see it. I didn't see it.
Dangerous
I didn't see
game.
it, but
Right.
the shoe got caught. The shoelace got caught in the escalator, ripped the shoe clean off, and shredded the shoe. So if the person would have been there, would have shredded his leg like a meat grinder.
If the person would have been there, it was just
If they didn't
a
take the
rogue
shoe
shoe
off.
by
I don't,
itself.
If
I
they
don't,
didn't
I
chew
don't,
off.
I
So-
think you can just lift your foot
Okay.
and not have your
Take your
leg.
foot out of the shoe.
Okay.
Okay, so
But
approaching,
it happened.
It's
So
tighter and
Okay.
tighter, though, Smith.
But
You- were you-
approaching an escalator is a time you point out to someone
Yeah.
that your
Hey, shoes
shoelaces are
untied.
untied, and that's about it. I
it's
don't
like
think
wearing
there's
a
any
tie
other
and having a
example.
wood chipper. You never know. It's things,
Right.
Who
right.
wood
What
chips
is this,
with
a
a tie
cartoon?
on?
Guys.
Other than like William H. Macy and Fargo, I think he might have had a tie on.
People do weird shit 24/7.
Okay.
That's true.
You were
actually.
in this store,
No,
or you heard
I
about
heard
this?
about it.
Okay. Good.
Let's Google it.
Only in Dade?
No,
Samurai
this
sword?
was way before Only in Dade.
Are you telling us to look it up? I mean,
No, I'm not telling you to look it up. I'm telling you what happened. The
Billy?
shoe got shredded.
According third person, you
third person,
didn't
yeah.
witness it yourself.
But Tony, that's like when our grandmothers used to tell us, like, "Hey guys, if you see someone driving around with their lights off, there's gang initiation." Or
Yes,
don't go
don't
to
flick their
Walmart;
lights at
they're
it.
killing people in the parking lot. It's
Uh-huh.
gang initiation.
Don't take a cold shower after you've been outside and it's hot.
Yeah.
You can have
Oh.
una embolia.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take a shower during a lightning storm.
During a
que se-
lightning
que te mete
storm.
ahí
I think
fried.
that's actually true,
The
though.
lightning
That's
storm
bullshit.
thing is a load of bollocks.
That's
I think.
bullshit.
Don't
No,
walk
I
around
think
the house
that's
without
true.
socks on.
When have you ever seen an obituary say he died in a lightning storm by taking a shower?
Yeah.
I actually saw
Never.
something recently on Twitter of like a
fake.
lightning plumbing incident during a storm over the summer. It like blew up a toilet.
A toilet? Come on.
Nobody's dying
Or
from
the
taking a
trick-or-treating?
shower during lightning.
The drugs in the trick or treat bag.
No, that's
Yeah.
real.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
real.
Who are these
That's
people
real. That's-
who like decides
just-
I want
Who are
to
these really
poison
bad drug dealers
random?
that are giving away
I
free
want to
for
give away
free.
my free drugs.
that they paid for.
The shoelace thing is never like I never want. I'm the stubborn asshole person who's like never help me. Like don't interact with me in public. Like let me just put my head down, put my headphones on, and ignore everyone.
That's nice.
And the shoelace thing,
Not you,
it's
listeners.
true. The shoelace thing, I'm like, you know what? Unless I'm near an escalator, like I know my shoelaces are untied right now, and I don't care. If anyone told me, hey, your shoelace is untied, I'd be like, I know, I don't care. Sometimes I just leave them untied.
Billy, what is the age of a person that you're willing to make an exception on with this? There have to be ages where you would come to somebody and say, hey, your shoelaces are untied because you don't want that person to break a hip, correct?
Like what age would I tell people?
Yes.
I don't tell anyone usually, and old people like have shoes that don't have laces typically, right?
But if you saw an old person with their shoelaces untied, you would tell them.
Well, I'd
out of
probably,
concern, right?
if it's an old enough person, I'd bend down probably and tie the shoelaces
That's what-
for them.
If it's someone you care that their shoelaces untied, you bend
Right.
down and tie the shoe. If
Yeah.
it's a kid or an old person,
Yeah.
you
What
go down
about-
and you tie the shoe.
sometimes,
Otherwise, keep it moving.
There's an age though for kids, right? Where like you got to learn. You know what I mean? Like you
True.
tell them up to a certain point, and then like I feel like
I'm not talking like 15-year-olds.
no, like 6 or 7. It's like you've known how to tie your shoes for a couple years. Like we're gonna scrape this knee today, and we're gonna learn the lesson about tying our
There's
shoes.
nothing more annoying to me than picturing a man being like, oh, flat tire, and me just being like, I just shut up. Like, does the idea of that not annoy you?
Who says flat tire for a
tire?
Wow.
That's like one of those things that white guys say, like when you're leaving a restaurant, they're
Oh,
like
there
ready
you
to
go.
rock and roll. It's like one of those expressions that people like make up.
No,
Stugotz
you're right.
says it.
No, you're right. Flat tire. I use it all the time. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course you
XYZ.
do.
Got a flat? Yeah.
Do you think anyone in our audience, anybody listening to this has ever seen another human being in their entirety of all the years of life slip on a banana peel? Do you think that there is one person in our audience?
Tony's seen it.
Are we coming up with cartoon scenarios?
There was one
Three
time in
Stooges?
school. No, there was one time in the
Meat
cafeteria in
grinder?
school, and
Tony had a person with their shoelace untied slip on a banana onto an escalator, and it was a whole thing.
And then the tie
What a
got into the
scene.
meat grinder. I mean,
And
Then they
someone
took a
yelled, "You have
shower
flat
in the
tire."
lightning, and whew,
guys, it was crazy.